But Rama in Williamstown, Vermont. Rama, you're a fairly common sense guy. You must be. You were the very first producer of this program. You helped us start this show back 10 years ago.
I was smart enough to hook my wagon to your tail.
Well, thank you, sir.
Listen, and
vice versa.
I'm also speaking from experience as being on a school board now for going into my 6th year, and as we implement this too. So, while I'm not, in-depth knowledgeable, I certainly have more than the average knowledge on it.
Good. Inform me.
So I think the first thing that happens is a confusion between topics, and this really explains why you and your guest would never be able to come to agreement. You were talking about the Common Core state standards, and you were absolutely correct. He was talking about the implementation of the Common Core state standards, and he was also, in general, quite correct, because as the Common Core state standards says nothing about evaluations or assessments. Right. It just, as you said, it provides a set of standards. And actually, speaking as a very progressive and a very as libertarian when it comes to education, I think the Common Core state standards, if you get down and just read the standards and forget about all the distractions, is really great. And it provides a good basis for a good, solid curriculum. And the curriculum that comes out of that provides the basis for some really good in-house classes to be given. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, the implementation of the Common Core state standards has, in general, I'd say almost universally, gone along with just another set of widely used standardized testing. And generally, the two you'll hear the most connected with the Common Core, one is the acronyms are SBAC, which is SBAC, the Smarter Balanced Assessment Consortium, and the other is PARC. And you'll have to forgive me, as I can only remember one of these acronyms, the one that applies to us in Vermont, which is SBAC, but PARC is another acronym for having to do with the Assessment Consortium. Mm-hmm. And these can get expensive, even though you're correct technically that this is all open source. The exams themselves are not open source. They're very high security exams because, they don't want to release them out into the public. And schools are having to go through a great deal of expense on buying new computers and upgrading in-house technology, et cetera, because the test is designed for both PARC and SBAC to be given by computer. Right. So there is, and plus, depending on where you go, New York.
But the test. Hang on just a second. Let me just clarify here. Yeah. These two testing consortiums, which presumably have large chunks of for-profit testing companies in them, associated with them, driving them, running them, whatever. Do I have that right? First of all.
You know what? On that one, I'm gonna plead ignorance.
Okay, yeah. All right, that's fine. So I'll plead ignorance too.
They're expensive for the schools to implement, though.
Right. Okay. So
we're having to invest an awful lot in technological improvements and upgrades and purchasing new computers and equipment in our schools.
But all that said, it's probably cheaper than developing your own set of tests to determine whether you're hitting the Common Core standards, right?
If the insistence is that you take that you want a common assessment to compare across states, which is generally why the states are going with this. They were hoping to do a national level assessment, but one that's common across the nation, but that didn't work out. It would be cheaper, but and I'm not saying. Look, there's some value to these standardized tests. But they'll also be done with some in-house assessments, that you're going to find from place to place. Right. But in general, if it's implemented right, the Common Core state standards, given a decent curriculum, which is turned into good classes in the school buildings, has an awful lot of promise. Its biggest promise is instead of trying to give out a mile wide and an inch deep worth of knowledge, you're going to go for a much narrower set of knowledge, but you're going to get into it much deeper so you understand concepts.
Right, at least with these core areas of literacy and math.
Absolutely, and science too. But
so Rama, you know all about hard breaks. We're about 30 seconds from one. So might it be accurate to say that this is sort of like healthcare? If we could just get the damn profit motive out of it, it would be a good thing?
Well, I don't know if I would say that. I would say be very leery of of how they implement it.
That's where the profit motive comes in. Somebody comes in and says to the school, "We'll sell you computers and we'll sell you tests."
Tom, you could be absolutely correct on that, and to some degree, I think you already are.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see how this all shakes out. But in net, you're on the school board. You guys are adopting it enthusiastically?
In general, yeah. In Vermont and certainly other areas in the Northeast that I'm familiar with, I mean, there are some problems. Like if you look across the state and across the border into New York, they're having issues, but that's mostly because they're using it as high-stakes assessments on the teachers, too.
Which is not how it was designed. But you can use it however you want. It's a blunt instrument, as it were. Rama in Williamstown, Vermont. Thank you, Rama.